Hi everyone, my name is Ali and I'll be reporting about Dadaism. So, ano nga ba yung Dadaism? Dadaism came from the word dada, the French colloquial term of the hobby horse, and of course, it has another meaning in different language which is yes yes baby, talk in Romanian and Russian, and tale of a sacred cow and crew African dialect which makes absolutely no sense at all. As in, wala talaga siyang kwenta. Kasi yun na yung pinaka-intention ng Dadaism itself. It intend to mean nothing. If we could ask Francis Picabia for the meaning of Dadaism for him, he said, Dada alone does not smell. It is nothing, nothing, nothing. It is like your hopes, nothing. Like your paradise, nothing. Like your idols, nothing. Like your politicians, nothing. Like your heroes, nothing. Like your artists, nothing. Like your religions, nothing. Yung pagkakadefine ni Francis Picabia sa Dadaism makes it more interesting. Bakit nga ba? Dadaism actually contradicts itself. And it's an art movement noong 20th century of European avant-garde, and it was created as a response sa nangyayari noong World War I, and iniisip nila gaano kalaking kalokohan yung World War I itself and how they are being disgusted with it. And they created nonsense art so that they can express themselves about their thoughts on the World War I. And nag-start to kay Hugo Ball noong 1916 sa Switzerland before siya nag-spread sa whole Europe. And as I've said earlier about Dadaism, it was an art movement, yet it was anti-art. They hate art and anti-bourgeois, anti-politics, and anti-everything. It's just against the existence of anything, the discipline of art. Kung yung modern art questions the traditions of art, while etong Dadaism naman questioning the art itself, and they are declining the aesthetics of art. And nag-start to kay Hugo Ball noong 1916 as he performed the Karawane. And this time, I'll be presenting you his performance of Karawane. Before we proceed to the video, pinerform to ni Hugo Ball sa Cabaret Voltaire as he mocks the poetry itself because it was just random words na nirecite niya. And the first time he performed, nagwear siya ng very strange costume with his legs and body encased with a blue cardboard troops and a white and blue witch doctor's hat as he called it on his head. He also wore a huge gold-painted cardboard cape that flapped when he moved his arms and lobster-like cardboard hands or claws. And now we can proceed to the video itself.
Holy Bantu Bambla, o Pauli Bambla, Rosija Fahabla Ho, Egiga Korab, Iku Bloiko, Rusula Rubio, Holaka Holala, Alaku Bum, Blaku Bum, Blaku Bum, Posso Pataka, Kusubudu, Subudu, Subudu, Asabatusa, Dababaluka, Buka,
And there's his other works were Zur Kritik, Der Duschen Intelligence, and Ball and Hammer, Tenderanda the Fantast. And now we are gonna talk about Marcel Duchamp. which is one of the pioneers of the movement with his contribution of doing Dadaism, and he just makes random objects to be an art. And he took Dadaism to New York City as he was escaping the World War I on Europe. On his works, he had a painting that entitles Nude Descending a Staircase Number 2, created on 1912, and it was actually one of the most controversial work na ma-include sa Armory show noong 1913. And this painting aims to expand the perception of the human body in motion, or like animation motion. And it was a topic of fascination for Duchamp around this time. And it actually helped made the case for modern art to audiences in New York on the year 1913, and that met with a hostile public reaction and cemented Duchamp's reputation as an artistic provocateur. And the second one of his artwork is The Fountain, that is created year 1917, and this was actually considered as an icon for the 20th century art or the modern art itself. And his fountain is quite possibly the first ever conceptual work of art, and nowadays art galleries are filled with all sorts of weird and wonderful objects put but back in Duchamp's day, it was a far more traditional affair. And Duchamp was one of the very first to bring manufactured objects, which he called ready-mades, into the gallery space. His artwork, the fountain itself, was a particularly attention-grabbing ready-made because it was such a crass, crude object, even if the one he bought was brand new. And it was really important to Duchamp because he really wanted to subvert traditional good taste. And as he argued that anything could be a work of art, regardless it might be good or bad or ugly, as long as the artist itself might mention that it's an art. And as he rebels about this art, para niyang sinasabi na binaligtad niya lang tong artwork na to, and nilagyan niya ng trademark na Armat noong ng 1917. Then sinabi niya, oh no, art to kasi sinabi ko to eh. Parang ganun. And actually, pinagtanggol niya si Armat, his alter ego, for this work dahil sinasabi niya na art yan. Kasi sinabi nga nung mismong artist na art yon. Dahil siya yung nabaligtarin yon at lagyan ng perma. So, ibig sabihin, it was an art for him. The title of LHOOQ that was created in 1919 was actually a pun on the French expression of El Achad Akul, which has multiple explicit translations, and isa dun is yung meaning niya is she has a hot ass. And as with most of his ready-mades, Duchamp made many versions of LHOOQ, and this was created by buying a copy of postcard and putting some mustache on Mona Lisa, and he had created many copies of it. And notably, actually, there was one made with Francis Picabia, who was really eager to publish it sa magazine niya na 391. So, he just simply recreated himself but forgot the goatee. And Duchamp later added the goatee and labeled it Moustache for Picabia or Parbish par Marcel Duchamp, Avril 1942. There's another artist ng Dadaism, which is Tristan Tzara, and he actually found and propagated the Dada art in Zurich during the World War I, and he determined to find an alternative to tradition, history, and the continuation of what he considered the pernicious. From 1916, Zara organized violent, disruptive, and unexpected performances at the Cafe Voltaire shock and upset his audience. All part of his effort to spread a kind of anti-art, one no longer based on any formerly understood societal standard. One of his notable works were the magazine cover for Liquor a Barb or The Bearded Heart, year 1923. And this theatrical performance, The Bearded Heart, written and directed by Tsara, was performed at the Theater Mitchell. He called it a hoax as it was deliberately provocatorial, and he actually intended to subvert a normal theater experience and an audience coming to sit quietly and watch something recognizable with the beginning and ending and some kind of normal sense of story development would be in for major surprise. The performance, attended by Bratton, Aragon, Supalt, Elbert, and Ribbon the Saints, included nonsensical dialogue between a mouth, ear, eye, nose, neck, and eyebrow, accompanied by bewildering ballet and music. And his other work is Dada Globe Solicitation Form Letter, year 1920. And this missive, primarily instigated by Tsara, outlined the goals of the Dada Globe project as well as clearly presenting its stylic idiom. And the Dada Globe intended to further promote the international nature of the movement and serve as a cross-cultural guidebook to the future of art. It was an encyclopedia that included self-portraits, montages, collages, drawings, poems, and book designs from artists across the world, including the former combatant states of Germany. For its international availability, he planned to publish it in French, German, and English. For this one, ginawa ito para makatulong to to help out the future periods to had a reference for creating art, I think. And it was available in different languages such as French, German, and English. The other artist of Dadaist movement is Jean Arp, and he was an abstract artist, and he was known for doing wavy lines and biomorphic sculpt. His work were more on non-representational, yet he was firmly rooted in nature. And most sa mga gawa niya is from organic forms, and yung mga gawa niya is more on he was trying to make the viewer curious more and really consistent framework for satisfying the eye of the people. And he is also one of the first artists na gumawa ng artworks na sobrang random, and he actually saw chance as a color in his process, and this was actually a game changer in the visual arts. And until then, Western artists had striven for a skilled level of control. And this is his notable works. The first one is the Shirt Front and Fork, created year 1922. And this is one of the series of a wooden relief sculptures that he made noong 1920s, and he actually depicted a recognizable form in an unrecognizable context. It was kind of paradox as well. And it was rendered in black, gray, and white. Yung artwork na to, it has an overt graphic quality that allows the viewer to quickly identify the side and the object sa left, which is nagre-resemble siya sa malaking ngipin. It was actually easy to identify and remains mysterious, evoking a host of associations that are ultimately unresolved for the viewer. While the collage with squares arranged according to the laws of chance, this idea was actually incredibly radical for the period itself, and one of the first attempts para makapag-engage sa element of chance in the work of art. It actually the art's commitment to the ideal of chaos, the hallmark of Dada. And now we are gonna talk about Kurt Schwitters. And Yung style niya is he was creating compositions before na naggagaling sa different objects tulad na lang ng trains tickets, wooden spools, newspaper, cigarettes or strings, and yung poems were actually composites of newspaper headlines, and it was more on advertising slogans and other printed ephemera. And he actually referred na lahat ng artistic or activities as mirrors and nonsense were derived from the second syllable of the word commerce or German commerce itself. His collage actually called Merzbilden or Merz pictures, and later he also referred all of his daily activities and even to himself by that name. The first artwork is Dust and Build, year 1919, and it's just definitely means the picture image. And the collage has UND meaning, and therefore it is the end picture. And it was actually nothing deep there. It was just random collage. And for the second one is the revolving 1919. And for this work, actually he stated about this that out of parsimony he found because we were now an impoverished country, and he wrote that new things had to be made out of the fragments, and the work actually reflects Ritter's self-proclaimed love for the wheel, and its title refers to a poem by the artist from the which in which he wrote that worlds turn the new machine to thee, though time the new machine space. Si Francis Picabia, kilala din siya bilang Papa Dada, and he was also known for doing strange erotic images using machine parts to a text-based paintings na nagfo-foreshadow sa mga aspect or description of conceptual art. And Picabia was actually the central to the Dada movement nung nag-emerge siya sa Paris nung year 1920s, and yung gawa niya were actually quickly abandoned with many of the technical concerns that had animated with his previous work, and he began to use text in most of his pictures and collages, and para makapag-create pa siya ng explicit content or scandalous image na umaatake sa notions ng morality, religion, at law. His work was Tres Rare Tableaux sur la Terre, or Very Rare Picture on the Earth, and was created on year 1915. And after the World War broke out, Picabia actually became more fascinated with the idea of industrial objects as a pictorial source. And actually, he once wrote that the machine has become more than a mere adjunct of life, and it was actually really a part of human life, perhaps the very soul. And I have actually enlisted the machinery of the modern world and introduced it into my studio. And his goal, he said, was to invent a mechanical symbolism, and this piece is one of his most important examples since critics have read it as an image of a sexual act rendered in mechanical terms. And the other one is Parade Amoureuse or Love Parade, and it was created 1917 and created in oil on canvas. And for this one, actually, to contemporary viewers, they were scandalous in their rejection sa idea ng human soul, and their emphasis instead on instincts and compulsions, both often erotic. Sa gawa na to, nagde-depict siya sa between male and female, and the upper part in red might be considered the female herself, and yung lower part is yung blue, which is yung male. And as he created this, he wants the viewer that imagines the sound of the hammering and the idea of a sonorous sculpture or a musical instrument anyway. And the last artist that I'm gonna talk about is Hannah Hodge, which is she actually created and recombined images and text from mass media to critique popular culture, and her works were more on politics, and she also doing political photo montages, and she also created and promoted the idea of the new movement in the era. Her notable work is Cut with the Kitchen Knife through the last Weimar beer belly cultural epoch in Germany, year 1929. And for this artwork is a photo montage that was made by just cutting photographs from mass media publications and pasting them onto support and to create a new juxtapositions and new meanings. And actually, this was divided into two. The left side is for Dada and the right side is for anti-Dada. And Hannah Hodge also stated about this work that we, the Dadaists, regarded ourselves as engineers. We maintained that we were building things. Said we put our works together like fitters. And for the last artwork, it's Dada Review, year 1919. And for this one, it was actually the parody of the gigantic nonsense of the world. And she actually found the photos and fragments of the text in magazine photos, and she found them in the Berliner Illustrierte Zeitung, an illustrated paper for a mass readership covering a range of topics from serious politics to and minor celebrities and fates diverse. And that's all, and thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any other questions by emailing me. Thank you.